Bang! Neeves Knives. I'm Jared. My lovely wife Kara is at work, and today we're doing something a little different. We're out at the park, so you will hear some wind, some noise. I didn't realize how windy it was, but I'm going to try to push through it. Hopefully you guys hear mostly my voice and not all the noise in the background, but there will be noise in the background. I will try to pause through most of the heavy wind if possible. So let's get to this beautiful, beautiful knife, the Skiff Drifter. So I want to thank Andrew Tool for sending me this beautiful, beautiful knife, and also a bunch of other amazing knives from his collection. He told me to use them. He told me to do whatever I have to do to make a review and to make, you know, a quality review. So at first I was a little hesitant, especially with this beauty, because it is a polished, beautiful knife. But he told me, no, use it, do whatever you have to do, and I highly respect that. So let's get to this beautiful knife. So I did forget to measure this thing, this drifter, and I did not bring my caliper, so I might have to write some stuff on the screen, but we are going to push through. I'm going to take a couple wild guesses here. So I'm going to guess that this knife is about 7 3/4, because this knife is 8 inches long, and I'm going to guess that the blade is about 3 1/4. It's a little under 3.5 inches. I will write it on the screen if I am wrong. Let's do another size comparison. Here's the Benchmade. That was the Benchmade Griptilian large. And then here's the Benchmade 940-1. They are very, very similar in length. And then we'll do just a couple more that a lot of people know. Here is the Sebenza 31. You can see the Sebenza is a bit longer than it. And then here's a new knife. I just kind of wanted to show how the scales are patinaing. I did just do a video on this. I've only had it for a day, and holy cow, is it really changing colors. So it's about the same length as a sheepdog. The large version, the extra large version, with the micarta scales. Here it is up against the Trevor Burger Lexic, which also came from Andrew Tool, and they are very, very similar in size. Also, this one here being a custom knife. Now the Drifter, I think it's more considered a mid-tech because it does have CNC machining. And as far as I know, me and Andrew, we did a basically a live chat online, where we talked to each other and we talked about the knives and everything else. He's a great guy. I like him a lot. He's really easy to get along with, great sense of humor, and we had a good time hanging out, you know, chatting. So it's a father and son team that make these, Steve and Steve, and as far as I know, so the son does all the mill work, and then the dad does all the final finish work. As of right now, you can get on their books. So if you are looking for one of these, you can get on their books. These ones go for about $825 and $750 if you get the standoffs instead of the back spacer. Also, this knife is CPM 154, a titanium frame lock, titanium pivot collars. It is very polished, very milled, and it is very, very beautiful. Now, the bearings that they do ceramic caged bearings. So it's ceramic bearings that are caged inside of a brass washer, and they do all those in-house. And also they do custom orders on those, so you can order their bearings for your knife, for whatever knife. I'm pretty sure they do different sizes and stuff like that. So that's actually really, really cool. And I've heard of a couple people that have ordered their bearings before, and they very much like them. So quality bearings. So let's get to what I think about this knife, because I see how far we are into the video. So let's do the good and bad. Now, I did carry this, I did use this. It is a good EDC size, and also there's a nice, very good finger choil right here. The blade stock thickness, it has a pretty thick blade stock. I also brought a brand new knife wipe just for this purpose, so we can keep it nice and polished. And you'll notice the fit and finish on this thing is outstanding. I mean, it is very, very well done. It is a fingerprint magnet because of all the polishing, but a lot of times when you get this heavily polished of titanium, it doesn't scratch as easy as you think. Now, also depending on the anno work, but anno work holds on a lot stronger to a polished finish than it does a rough finish, if that makes sense. It holds a more vibrant color, and it's also a stronger anodization. Now, the action on this thing, it's got a heavy, strong detent, and it rockets out. I mean, this thing blasts out. Now, it does not have any jimping on the flipper tab, but the flipper tab is very comfortable. They put a perfect placement for your finger to fire it off, and a lot of room there for your finger. And it also is a titanium frame lock with no steel lock bar insert. So, but this right here feels almost like a button. It's very easy to get to. They milled out this side right here for you to really get in there, and then you can let the flipper tab hit your finger, and it's past the detent. Let's look where the detent is. The detent is right there, but it does have a milled track. Let's see if we can get that to come up. It does have a little milled track, which makes for amazing action. Even if you did hit the detent ball, you can easily push right past it, which you usually don't. It's pretty much usually past it right there. I did hit it, you'll see. So if you hold up high, you'll hit the detent ball. But like I said, you can kind of just shake past it too if you really want to, like I just did there. But if you hold where you're supposed to, it's past the detent, no problem. Perfectly centered, great blade to handle ratio. And the blade definitely fits the scales very, very nicely. If you look at just like even the way how this is like the same shape as the blade, and how it fits in there so nicely. Now, Andrew did tell me this normally isn't his style. He's not really for the flashy colors or anything like that. And I know what he means, because I'm not really that kind of person either, but I respect it, and I like it from time to time too. So I guess he you know, figured out, or you know, was able to get one, so he got one, and yeah, and the rest is history. But I find myself, you know, I'm a little bit more not so much of a flashy knife guy, but I do like them from time to time. So it is nice sometimes having, you know, some of this I guess you could say swagger knives, whatever you want to call it, but beautiful, beautiful knives with beautiful colors. And yeah, talk about a pop of color. This is definitely a big pop of color. Let's talk about this blade. So I did not sharpen this. I could have, but I did not. Now, it has a good factory edge on there, and it gets down to a pretty good thickness, or thinness I should say, but it does get pretty thick quick. Now, it's not bad. The blade geometry, I would say, is good, but not great. Could be better. The ergos, fantastic. It does really have good ergos. Now, the clip is long, so you do feel the clip. No matter what, you're going to feel a clip that long, but it carries very nice. It goes in and out of the pocket really nice. The tension is, it's not a heavy tension, but it's a good tension. Now, you'll see on the inside, there's no milling on the inside. All the milling is done out here. Nice big hardware. I love this titanium hardware. It is very, very well done, and it pops just like the other colors, so they matched it very, very well. So I love the milling. That's probably one of my favorite parts. I love the milling. I love the pop of color. I like the ergos. I like the finger choil. The blade shape's really good, especially for utility use. Now it's cutting performance. Now that's where I'm not the biggest fan. It's okay. It's not bad, but it's not great. But I don't think it was made for that. This, to me, like, it wasn't a knife built for precision cutting. It's more of an EDC knife, a knife that you take out of your pocket, you do your cut, you put it back in your pocket. And there's nothing wrong with that. Not every knife has to be a championship cutter, but it still cuts just fine and will go through materials just fine. So I'm not saying that it's bad, by no means. I'm just saying that the grind could be a little bit better. It could be, you know, not saying thinner behind the edge, but just a slower taper, or maybe a little bit of a deeper taper. Not saying they had to, because this is a very strong blade by this, you know, by the same breath. But the way I'm looking at it is it kind of has like a workman grind on top of a gent's polish and colors, if that makes sense. It kind of doesn't go with it. The grind is more for like working, you know, for abuse, and more for the type of work that you would do, more heavy, that you know, where you want a nice strong blade, and it's on top of the platform of a knife that's going to be carried by somebody who you know, just needs an EDC knife, I guess. It's kind of hard to put into words, but I'm sure you understand what I'm saying. Now, is there anything wrong with that? No, there's not, because the person that will be carrying this, you know, isn't going to probably be doing heavy cutting. They're not going to probably be doing the hard use. They're probably just going to take it out of their pocket, do whatever cut they need to do, and be done with it. And it will hold up just fine like that. So it does work still for the intended use. Now, this right here feels really good. It is polished, but since it's so thick right there, it's a nice good platform to like squeeze here and hold nice and tight. You can get some nice good push cuts in. You can get some nice utility cuts in. Now, let's get to some bad. I know what I just said, that wasn't a bad thing. That was just like me saying, you know, what it is. Now, some of the bad. So one bad thing is I don't like how they did this finger choil / sharpening choil with the plunge grind, just all three together, because if you look at the edge, you see how the edge is creeping back. Now, the more you sharpen, every time you sharpen, it's going to come back farther and farther and farther. Eventually, this is going to be a very small finger choil, and the edge will come all the way back to here. Now, you could just sharpen up the blade, which you're probably going to want to do because this is the plunge grind right here, but eventually, you know, your finger will go here, and you're going to have to sharpen up this blade up that way. Now, I think it would have been nice, I think, to, I don't know, maybe mill out this spot right there to leave like a specific area for you to sharpen, rather than leaving it up to you to do that, if that makes sense. Now, I like the internal stop pins. Let me see if I can. It's so tight in there, I can't really get it to come up on camera, but I love internal stop pins. It leaves for a very strong lockup. I really like that. So that is definitely something I love about this knife. Now, the over travel stop is going to be this disc. You see right there. Now let's get to some more bad. Now, the polished finish. Now this isn't a bad thing, it's just saying that, you know, it is a polished finish, so it's going to be a fingerprint magnet. I mean, bad. You can't touch this thing without leaving a fingerprint. You just can't. It's not possible. This is a hand rubbed satin blade, and there is a beautiful flat right here. Now, hand rub satin. Now, this is where me and Andrew kind of disagree a little bit. He thinks the hand rub satin tends to hide scratches. I feel like it kind of makes them show. So maybe that's just a difference in opinions, and maybe I haven't had enough hand rub satin blades. But he did prove it to me though, because I was holding a knife of his, and he told me, you know, I tilted it in a certain light, and then I seen the scratches that were hidden from me from just looking at it. So I see what he's saying, but they can show scratches just because the scratch pattern for the satin is going this way. So when you're cutting, your scratches are going this way. So, I mean, that's the way I'm looking at it. The action is heavy. Now, that's another thing. It does have a very strong detent. You want to be careful not to put your finger on this lock bar. You will lock your finger out and you can skip off right here because there's no jimping. But I've learned to be good at that. Like, I never grab a knife and hold it like this. I never do that because this is the detent ball. Let me explain this for people that don't really quite understand. This is the detent ball. Okay, so in the closing position, this detent ball locks into a hole that's on the blade. Now, if you push right there, you are holding the detent ball that's giving you that action. You're holding it. Hang on one second. Had to pause for the garbage truck. Now, I know you guys see it's only been 17 minutes. It's been about an hour and a half for me because I keep having to pause for the sounds, the noises, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, probably even closer to 2 hours. Anyways, so the action is fantastic as long as you're not holding the detent ball in place. A lot of frame locks have that. It's not just this knife, it's a lot of frame locks. Now, I'm adding in this clip really quick about Cara. Cara, even though she does love the way it looks, she loves the colors, she loves the milling, she loves a lot of things about this knife, the detent is just a little too strong for her liking, and the flipper tab is just a little too slick. She wishes that there was a little bit more grip on the flipper tab, not necessarily jimping, but it seems like it's pretty polished, which, you know, like I said, with a heavy detent, it can make you slip a little bit, you know. So my fingers kind of come with a little grip, so it's not that big of a deal for me, but for hers, it's, you know, that's her biggest issue with the knife. Other than that, she loves everything else about it. Another thing I think is pretty cool, I had to pause for the wind, I'm sorry guys, but another thing I think is really cool, it says Drifter number 28 right there. That is really cool, and then on the other side there is a logo right there. But there's no milling, so you could say that this thing does have a little bit of extra weight, and it could be lighter if they milled out the scales, especially at this price. They could have done that. Is it that big of a deal? No. Do I find it too heavy? No. Is it easy to carry? Absolutely. So I'm not complaining about it, I'm just bringing it up. Same thing with this being a titanium frame lock. I'm bringing it up that it does not have a steel insert. Here comes the garbage truck again. Forget about it, he's not going nowhere, he's going to be here the whole time. So it does not have a steel lock bar insert. Now, that is not bad, it's just I'm bringing it up. It does have a carbonized titanium lock face, and its geometry is fantastic. Completely locked up, no slip, easy to disengage, no stick. This is well done. This is about as good as you can get for a titanium frame lock with no lock bar insert. So if that's your thing, this is amazing. So there you guys go. There's the video. I apologize for all the noises and all the inconveniences. I tried to not make this video as long as it was, but I love you guys. Thank you, Andrew. Peace.